Hi, thanks for joining me. My name's Jim Smith. I'm lead pastor of San Antonio Heights Community Church. If you're ever in the area, just drive up Euclid Boulevard. When it comes to an end, turn to the left, kind of wind your way up, and there we are, Euclid Avenue and 25th Street. We'd love to have you visit us. But thanks for checking us online. And if you ever want to give to us, ta-da, there you go. QR code, and that's only if you want to. We're going through the book of Romans, and today we're talking about creating an atmosphere of love. Paul's gone through a whole lot of doctrine, and now practical Christian living, gospel living life. If you believe in Jesus and you follow Jesus, the good news, the gospel, tells that we can be saved, but we need to live as believers to demonstrate to the world the change that comes in us and through us. And Paul just says, because of all the things that Jesus has done for you, this is what you should be doing for him as you live here on earth. And one of them is that you create an atmosphere of love. Chuck Swindoll years ago wrote a book called Dropping Your Guard. Chuck Swindoll, just a great preacher, a former Marine, also former president of Dallas Theological Seminary. But the book is great. And he just says, the church needs to be a little less like a monument and more like a bar. Interesting, where you can let your hair down and just share struggles with others, and they understand and they sympathize and they encourage. Our churches need to be more like that, without the alcohol. In this chapter 12, verses 9 through 13, we're going to look at how do you do that? And there's some great principles. Number one, and here's what he says, be genuine. He just starts out saying, don't pretend to love others. Really, really love them. Don't wear a mask. Be authentic and show that you struggle with things and care about others. It's just a list of things to do. Love isn't occasionally you're going to be loving. It's steady. It's all the time. You follow through on promises and commitments. When other people aren't perfect, you accept their weaknesses and encourage them as they grow. And secondly, he says, if you're going to be creating an atmosphere of love, choose good over evil. He says, hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Because you hate when you see death in places that people didn't deserve to be shot or imprisoned. It's unfair justice that is not served. You see that today all over the world. Christians that are being persecuted, Christians that are being shot around the world, and sadly here sometimes in America. And you just go, I hate that. I hate what is evil. And even some laws that come into effect. All that's legal is not always biblical. Stay with what is good. And sometimes tough love is saying something to individuals, friends. You love them, but you see that they're going in the wrong direction. At the right time, in a loving way, you can share some things. Not saying what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. A third thing is that you give deserved recognition to others. Look what it says. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. There are times that people just deserve recognition. You can say thank you for what you've done, and sometimes they get awards and achievement dinners or whatever. That's okay. Give recognition to people who deserve it. Sometimes our society gives recognition to people who don't deserve it, and we don't do that. But when people get honored, celebrate their victories, celebrate their successes. Another thing that Paul writes about creating an atmosphere of love is be a hard worker. If you're loving, you're going to work hard. And he says, never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord with enthusiasm. Just serve the Lord. Be excited about doing some things, asking, hey, when you're done with the task, what else do you need me to do? How can I help more? always looking for ways to help, always looking for ways to serve. And that zeal, that enthusiasm, it's going to be contagious. It's just contagious. People see you and they'll follow that example. Laughter is contagious. My wife once she just got so tickled at something. You just watch this and you can't help but laughing.
Oh, my stomach hurts. How do you
think? She had gone for a long time before I recorded that. But you know what? Have your work ethic be contagious like laughter. Another thing, be positive and encouraging. Rejoice in our confident hope. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. There's 3 things there that you just look at and say, wow, rejoice that we have the hope in the Lord, and encourage people. The best is yet to come. God has placed us, has a room for us reserved in heaven. That's our final destination. And we're on this long trip called Earth. And just be encouraged that all your work is going to be rewarded at the end. And our hope is in the Lord. Some people put their hope in money, in success, in recognition, in relationships, and it all fades away. I'm trying to encourage. And when I was in the hospital, people just sent me texts and emails, and it was really encouraging. Keeps you going. In fact, whenever my wife showed up at the hospital, my spirits went up, my numbers, the tubes and whatever they had attached to me just went up. And they said, man, when your wife comes, you're just doing so much better. We've got to get you home. We got to get you out of the hospital. We've done all we can. Let's get you home where you're going to be encouraged 24/7. And we need to have that kind of an atmosphere in church and with other believers. Lastly, he said, practice hospitality. When God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. You're just looking for ways to help people. But when you're with people, greet them warmly. Just say, hey, good to have you here. Listen more than you talk. Ask good questions. Look them in the eye. Try to remember their names. I am not good at that, but I try my hardest to remember names. And so create that atmosphere of love. During World War II, there were some soldiers that one of their comrades died. One of their fellow soldiers died. And they were near a village. They saw a grave yard, and they went to the priest who was there and said, can we bury our friend quickly in your graveyard? He says, no, he wasn't Catholic. During the day, then they just dug a grave outside the graveyard and buried their friend anyway, because they had to get going, but it was outside the graveyard. After a battle, they came back to the church to pay their respects to their fellow soldier, and they saw that, well, they couldn't find the grave at first, and then they saw that the grave was inside the fence. And so they went to the priest and said, hey, what's going on? And he said, you know, when you guys left and I saw that you buried your friend outside the fence, I couldn't live with that. So that night I went out and I moved the fence to include your friend in our graveyard. And, you know, sometimes love does that. Don't be so rigid that you can't move a fence. You know, it's good that God loves us. He forgives us. He wants us to get better. He does all this. Love is a fantastic characteristic that we as Christians need to have as we demonstrate to the world what Jesus can do in us and then through us. You know, if you've never given your life to Christ, open your life, surrender to Jesus. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.